So guys, today we are starting down at the desk because I am recovering from a stomach bug this week, and that has not been very fun. So I figured it would just be more worth it if this was a mostly desk-oriented video where I don't have to show my face, and I don't have to worry about retaking things, blah 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 blah. So this week we have something a little different. Oh, there's just dust everywhere. I'm so sorry. So this is one of the big blue boxes. And this contains the first release of the Athearn Blue Box P42s. P40s. Whatever you'd like to call them. So I'll take it out real quick and I'll tell you what I have to do. So, it's actually a pretty good model for something of its age. I'm guessing that these were I don't know if these were compared with like diagrams or whatever, like with the Bachmann Siemens Charger. But it is a genuinely nice looking model. Like, I'm pretty sure that they reused this they reused a bunch of this tooling for the later releases. But some detail parts need to be reattached. There's air tanks on the bottom. Some parts need to be manufactured. There's a part of the truck frame here that is missing. It would be lovely if my phone would like to focus. Like you see, these are missing. Where here they have them. So I have to manufacture at least one of those. And there is a detail parts bag in the box here, so don't worry about that. So this one is just going to be like a slideshow instead of me guiding you through it, because this is genuinely going to be long and boring. And because of the stomach bug, I just couldn't care. I just can't care. I'm sorry. So yeah, let's get into it. The first thing that I did was look at the blow-up diagram, which thank goodness it was included. Cross-comparing with what I had to work with, I was missing a few of the glazing, so I just didn't bother with that at all. Next, I took it apart and assessed the damages. The previous owner used way too much glue on it, so I had to do quite a bit of scraping in certain areas and reattach some parts that fell off while trying to disassemble it. I did have to reattach a few parts like the back pilot, the air tanks, the battery boxes, and a few other things that were just so poorly put on that they immediately snapped off when I pushed on them a little bit. The next thing I did was fight with this window. It was in crooked and refused to go in. I had to file down one of the sides way too much, and even then, it's barely in there. Probably the easiest thing I had to do was flip around the rear headlight glazing. Yeah, so it looks like this guy never even opened it. Unfortunately, it was missing a brace, and since I couldn't find any online, I decided to make my own. So I took a bunch of sheet styrene. I want to say one was 1/10 of a millimeter thick, while the other one was a single millimeter thick, and I glued the two 1/10 of a millimeter sheets together, and then I used two squares from the 1 millimeter sheet. And I kind of glued that all together and made the whole brace structure. After test fitting it several times and modifying the shorter pieces, I eventually found a look that I liked. It's actually really subtle if you squint or if it's at speed, but up close you are going to notice it. It is actually eyeballed and not traced directly from the piece itself. For paint, I used a mix of matte acrylics and later on used a very watered down metallic acrylic paint just to get the sort of sparkle that the rest of the paint had. While the paint dried, I made a replacement handrail because it came with 7 instead of 8. I used, the standard black wire, and I later painted over it in silver because I didn't have the time to go and get some new wire. Now that the brace had been finished drying, I decided to glue it into place. And honestly, I'm actually kind of happy with it. It looks fine. It looks fine. After all this, I gave this the standard new engine to my fleet treatment. KD couplers, lubricated gears, and cleaned wheels. It's an Athearn Blue Box engine, so I don't really need to dive into what I did. I'm really glad that I picked this up. That right there is the picture in the thumbnail. Well, here it is, the finished product. I must say, it looks a lot better now that it's got all the parts reattached. It's genuinely really nice. Behind it, I've got the infamous crummy liners, as I've dubbed them. I made a drawbar in between them, so I didn't have to use any couplers. Probably show a picture of that on screen right now. But yeah, let's get it cranked up. It runs great. It's a little noisy, but I can't really complain for what I paid for it, and what subsequently happened to it after that. But yeah, it looks great. I'm looking forward to using this a little more often now that it's in a presentable state. Tell me what you think. Do you want to see more of this? Do you want to see it with actual amphileets behind it and not the crummy liners? Yeah, thanks for stopping by, and I'll see you in the next video. Later.